You look quite ethereal, actually.
Yeah, I do, don't I?
Okay. All righty ho. Are we good to
on?
go? Hello.
Hello.
Hello. You
Are
sound
you all right?
weary. I'm all right. How are you?
Confined to barracks still.
Yep. I've lost count, actually, how long this is now.
Yeah, it's surprisingly how quickly July has come, isn't it? It must be July, because on the test match I was listening to earlier, it referred to July Day. So
I can't believe you're listening to old cricket matches. That just seems really odd to me.
yeah, it's no different to watching old football matches, is it?
But I think surely once you know what the outcome is, there's no point, is there?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't. Well,
I think you've missed the point. It's cricket.
is it like me watching the whole of The West Wing 15 years ago, and now having recently watched the whole of The West Wing again, even though, and I didn't really remember as much as I thought I would.
That's exactly it.
There you go. That's fine then.
That's exactly it.
And I guess we read. Well, if you're gonna over spiritualize it, as the bishop said he wasn't going to this morning, we know the end of the story today anyway as well.
We do.
We do.
We do. Yeah. According to Matthew's Gospel, which we're going to read in a minute, he becomes an angel.
No, don't say that because it's going to confuse people.
Because he says, "Do not be afraid." That's what angels always say.
Well, we'll talk about that in a minute.
All right.
How did you enjoy the Chrism Mass?
I thought it was very moving. I thought it was very moving. I thought Bishop Nicholas did it very sensitively, and like I think yourself and others, I'm still not convinced about the doing communion across the internet. I don't know why.
Well, we should explain what that is. The Chrism Eucharist is every Maundy Thursday, and usually all the clergy and the lay ministers in the diocese all go to Salisbury Cathedral, and we renew our ordination vows, which is a lovely occasion. But obviously we couldn't go this year, so Bishop Nicholas recorded us a service which we watched together with some of our colleagues, and it was lovely. I'm struggling with communion by internet. I understand the concept of spiritual communion in that you don't actually have to be present to receive, but yeah, it's odd. Some things translate well to a virtual life, I think. I quite enjoy Zoom meetings. I quite enjoy talking face to face with people. You know, on the internet, I've been having cups of coffee or gin and tonics with friends virtually, and that's been quite fun.
Seems good to me.
And it's not as good as being there in the flesh, but it's okay. But yeah, communion is. I'm struggling with that.
And in the same way you're struggling with that, I'm struggling. I understand, and believe me, I understand the Archbishop's instructions fully. I have no problem with understanding where he's coming from. But I personally struggle with not being able to pray in the church. Now,
oh, hang on, David, you've gone. David, stop. Hello.
And generations.
Hang on, that didn't work. We lost you and had no sound.
Righto.
Right, so we'll pick it up from the church is being closed. You have to say that all again.
Righto, yeah. I said, and I'm struggling with the churches being closed, not because I don't understand what the Archbishop is saying. I do thoroughly and fully support the idea we shouldn't be unnecessarily journeying and going to places, and certainly we couldn't be gathering large congregations. I've no problem. The struggle I have is that I need, for my spirituality, not the building, because like you, the building is just a building. I understand that. But I do get a lot from just being able to pray in a place where I can feel the soaked prayers of centuries of people praying there. And whilst I can pray at home, I don't find it as fulfilling as being where I know people and my generations of Team Rector, for instance, have done for years and years and years for the people. But I fully understand and support the lockdown. I have no no problem with that.
And I think that, I mean, I don't have that feeling, but that's fine. But I think lots of our congregation feel similarly. And I've had lots of comments from people in the village, both churchgoers and non-churchgoers, about saying how sad it is the church is locked and how much they miss being able to go in. And so I do understand that it's hugely important for some people.
Yeah, but it isn't the building, as the Archbishop says in his message yesterday to us all, because the building ultimately is only the building, and I know that. And yes, we can pray at home and should pray at home, and yes, it returns to the church as it was very originally, when families prayed together in their home and were the church. So I don't have any problem with that. For me, so I say, it's just somehow it's something very special about that soaked in prayer. The church, of course, is the building, is not the church.
We need to start, because we haven't even started yet.
No.
I think we ramble on longer on Zoom, so we should be a bit more to the point. Are we ready for our pause?
Yes.
Rev Chat 20 weeks, goodness me. Well done, people, for sticking with us that long. We're in Matthew's Gospel.
People still tell me they like it.
Well, no, people find it entertaining.
Oh dear.
I think that's an insult, but there we are. They're never going to find it.
Theological input to it up, really.
Yeah, no one's ever going to find it theologically entertaining. Or they might find it entertaining, perhaps not stimulating. Anyway, we're in Matthew's Gospel.
Matthew, please.
Matthew's Gospel, chapter 28, verses 1 to 10. After the Sabbath on the first day of the week, as the first day of the week was dawning, Mary Magdalene and the other Mary went to see the tomb. And suddenly there was a great earthquake, for an angel of the Lord descending from heaven came and rolled back the stone and sat on it. His appearance was like lightning and his clothing white as snow. For fear of him, the guards shook and became like dead men. But the angel said to the women, "Do not be afraid. I know that you are looking for Jesus who was crucified. He is not here, for he has been raised, as he said. Come and see the place where he lay. Then go quickly and tell his disciples, he has been raised from the dead, and indeed is going ahead of you to Galilee. There you will see him. This is my message for you." So they left the tomb quickly with fear and great joy and ran to tell his disciples. Suddenly Jesus met them and said, "Greetings." And they came to him, took hold of his feet and worshipped him. Then Jesus said to them, "Do not be afraid. Go and tell my brothers to go to Galilee. There they will see me." What strikes you?
Firstly, the story is in many ways so different to the other three stories in the way it's told.
Mm-hmm.
As we said earlier, or I said earlier to you, something that struck me today, which has never struck me before when I've read it, is that Jesus spends most of his time after the resurrection saying to the people, "Don't touch me. I haven't ascended to my Father." But in this story, they're grabbing hold of his feet. And he doesn't say to them, "Don't touch me." It bears no theological significance, I'm sure, at all. But I just find it interesting.
Well, apart from the physicality of the resurrection, so in the same way that Thomas in John gets to touch Jesus, or is invited to, I don't think he actually does it in the end, but
no, he doesn't.
He's invited to do it.
Yeah.
So it does mean that he could, presumably.
That's right.
And Mary, of course, in the garden, similarly in John.
But
Jesus says, "Don't hold on to me," doesn't he?
Don't hold on to me.
So there must be something physical about the resurrection. So, because some people talk about it being only a spiritual thing, but actually, I'm quite happy with a physical bodily resurrection. Jesus actually is physically there, raised from the dead, touchable, clingable, huggable. So
we'll come back to that in a few weeks' time on our ascension talk. I can disappearing through the clouds, I'm sure.
His feet hanging down, yeah.
That's right. Waiting to be grabbed.
I think there's definitely some theology there.
Yeah. But no, I just love the beginning of all of those readings when it says early on the first day of the week. It's quite pronounced, isn't it? It's early in the morning.
And that struck me a couple of Easters ago. I always talk about how familiar passages can still strike us anew, just like you've said about the feet. And it was a couple of Easters back when I was completely struck about it's about a new beginning at the beginning of the next week, the beginning of the next day. It's all about new beginnings. It's not the end of the story. It's the new bit of the story. It's the beginning. So the fact that it's the first day of the week and it's early in the morning, for me, is all about new beginnings, which was what resurrection is.
Exactly.
Of course, there's women.
There always are. There always are. Yes, good. You're going to say something important about them.
Well, you've said it time again. You're very good for this, but you know, it's important that it's the women who see him first. It's important that the women are the witnesses. The testimony of women wouldn't have been valid in the first century, in a law way, in a legal way, but in terms of being a witness to the resurrection, their testimony is valid, and they're the ones who stuck it out. So they were there at the end when his body was taken down from the cross. They were still there waiting.
And throughout the crucifixion.
Yeah, they stick it at it.
Yeah.
And I just think it's just so glorious for them to be the first ones to experience that new life.
Yeah. And what's fascinating in some of the tellings of this story is that Mary, the two Marys, but Mary Magdalene and the other Mary, it says, who we discovered is the Mary of James and Josie's.
Yeah, their mum. Yeah.
Believed to be. They get off to the tomb, presumably to do what they hadn't had chance to do on the day he was put in there, prepare his body for the ritual of burial. Then they rush off and find the disciples. And then we're told in other things that the disciples race down themselves. They don't seem to hang around very often, but the women still hang around and wait and eventually see the risen Lord.
Yeah. Yes, because if they'd raced off initially, they would have only met the angel. But the fact that they sort of, as they're on their way back to tell the disciples, they don't just have the witness of the angel, they then finally meet Jesus for themselves and have that face-to-face witness. We had a discussion about celebrating Easter in the midst of a really difficult time for the world, which is true, and a very difficult time for lots of people in different ways, and it's a tough place. But it's interesting because for me, Easter is all about what has already happened. So Jesus has already risen from the dead. He did it 2,000 years ago, roughly.
Absolutely.
And he has defeated death once and for all. And that doesn't stop. That can't be changed. That can't be undone. So what we celebrate at Easter is still victory and is still triumph, even though we may not feel victorious or triumphant or joyful, or even though a lot of what's going on in the world doesn't feel like that. But the victory is still there. Jesus is still alive forever and gives us new life in him. So our life can go on for eternity because of our relationship with God. So the good news is still good news. And in this passage in Matthew, the women react with both fear and joy. And joy because the one they love is not dead, he's risen. And fear because what on earth are they to make of this? You know, they've just met an angel, there's been an earthquake, they've met the risen Lord, all the things that they never expected to happen. And for me, that is just completely where I kind of feel where I am with faith at the moment. I still have joy because I know God is in the midst of all of what's going on, and I know that he is alive, and that's amazing. But there's a lot of fear because there's so much unknown, so much we don't understand, so much that's hard. So that's how I kind of sit in the Easter story at the moment. I'm one of those women, and I'm going, there's joy and there's fear. and that's okay. I don't mind that. That's both. I can hold them both.
Yeah, and for me, I wrote on a Facebook thing a few weeks ago, or at the beginning of this, 2 weeks ago maybe, those beautiful words from Psalm 30. You know, heaviness may last for a night, but joy comes in the morning. And in many ways, that's how I'm looking at this time. We're in that time of heaviness.
Mm.
But for me, perhaps with my limited medical background of old, I know that it will eventually be ended, and that's when the joy comes. But we have to live through that, and it's not easy to live through. And I guess that's exactly what the women following Jesus had to go through.
Yeah.
They not only went through all that happened in the week that we've been sharing now, culminating tonight with Jesus' arrest in the garden. They'll be there tomorrow as he makes his way up the road, having been flogged and beaten and falling and stumbling. They'll see him nailed to a cross in the pain and the agony that must have had, not just for him, but for them as well. And they'll hang around for 3 hours until he dies. And they'll see him roughly taken down from the cross and carried off. And then a big stone suddenly rolled in front of the tomb, and they've lost him. And then, for me, the joy of that beautiful story on Easter Day is that they go to the tomb, hoping somebody will be there to roll the stone away for them, but it's happened. Because whilst heaviness may endure for a night, joy comes in the morning.
You made me cry. Hallelujah.
Women are like that. They make a lot of people cry.
Don't you start with your sexist comments. That's outrageous.
I was just adding to your story, really. But there we are. So difficult. But Easter is about rejoicing, because the Christian experience is that we've suffered the darkness, and come Easter morning at 6 o'clock, when we try to do good, listen, if you're able to, go onto our Facebook page. We're hoping to have a very surprise service at about 6 o'clock in the morning.
We are.
With lots of lights, and pyromaniacs are welcome.
Well, apologise now for the people we wake up.
Yeah, because Jo's going to be singing, I'm told.
I am. I'm going to sing the Exalted.
So do look in, but no, we know that's what we believe. And if we don't believe that joy comes on Easter Day, then we've got a lot more searching and studying to do together. But thank you for watching. 20 weeks.
I know.
Where's it all gone to?
There should be a medal, or maybe a T-shirt. Anyway.
T-shirts, yeah, because they're not giving any of the in fact, lots of marathons have got them to give away because they've not had them.
Yes, no. Merch. Yeah. Rev Chat merch. Now there's the thing.
If you can prove that you've watched all 20, then send us a thing. We'll send you a sweet, something like that. And there won't be a Rev Chat next week because Reverend Neary's on holiday.
Oh, that's true. Well, you could always deputise someone in instead of me. No. Yeah, no. I think the people it helps the people to wait with joy. Excellent. Well, enjoy a week off. Thank you for watching. You can see everything that we're up to on our website, beaminsterteamchurches.org. Follow us on social media at Beaminster Team on Instagram, Twitter and Facebook. Join us at 6 a.m. live, our first live stream on Facebook. You don't need to be a member of Facebook to see the car crash. The glorious worship that it will be. But do join us. We'd love to see you, and take care. Whether you're in the midst of joy or in fear, God is with you. I do promise to be wearing something other than my pajamas. I'm pleased to hear it. We'll see you again. Take care. Bye-bye.